just going to run through some cool stuff from Veeam first. Tim Hudson is here with us. I'll give you a brief on virtual systems later, but we've been a Veeam partner for a long time. I don't know anybody smarter at Veeam than Tim Hudson. So if you get a chance to grab him and ask some questions later, I would do it. He's just a terrific resource at Veeam. So, and then Chelsea from Wasabi is going to talk through some stuff on object storage. So that should be cool. Wasabi is just a terrific partner of ours, and Chelsea's been wonderful to work with too. So, and then Virtual Systems is going to do a little bit of overview on cloud solutions and kind of how we bring those things together. So,
all right, guys. Good afternoon. Like Dirk said, my name is Tim Hudson. Hey, Rob. How are you? Good to see you, man. I'm a solutions architect at Veeam. I work specifically with our cloud and service providers like Virtual Systems. I live in Dayton, Ohio. I wanted to kick things off to tell you that we're going to talk about backup and replication. This is our core product. I'm going to talk about version 10. But before we do that, I'm going to tell you 3 things about myself. It's probably no surprise to anyone based on how I look. I'm a bit of a crunchy granola hippie guy. I've got a huge solar array, a total electric home, electric vehicle. So when we're doing idle chit-chat, if you guys want to talk about electricity, I love it. I think it's really cool. I do all sorts of neat things at my house with that. I'm also into native plants, so I've got an amazing yard and prairie and tree project thing I'm doing at my place, and I'm a big football fan. Not this kind of football, the real football. So if you want to, for idle chatter later, this is me. In terms of Veeam, before we talk specifically about backup and replication, I love this slide because it tells you what we touch, right? If you have these things, there is something with Veeam for you. Whether it be virtual, physical, or in the public cloud, we've got something in order to probably back up and or replicate things. So this is kind of just an overview of the technology that we touch. Specifically for V10, I wanted to talk about 3 things and 3 features that I thought were both really important for service providers and for the every customer. First, in terms of what was the one feature that we added that was most relevant and probably most requested from our customer base, and it's NAS Backup. I've got a slide on each of the top 3 features that I'm going to talk to in just a minute. But in terms of NAS Backup, we have a really incredible way to perform petabyte scale NAS backups with some proprietary change block tracking technology that we developed for NAS file systems. It's completely hardware agnostic. I think it's very impressive. In the middle here, we've made a number of instant recovery improvements that I think are applicable to any user, especially in the virtualization space, but it also will apply to physical workloads. And this, I think, is very important for our service providers over here. And then the third one, I think it's a little difficult to see, but I'm going to talk about some of our object storage capability and new features that we've put into version 10. I also love this bottom part. I'm not going to talk to any of these features unless you come to me later and talk to me about them. So check them out real quick. If any of these seem interesting to you, I only have so much time today, so I'm just going to leave these here for a second, let you check those. In terms of NAS backup, one of the things that we haven't had was a great way to back up massive file structures. Okay, so what we developed in version 10 was a proprietary change block tracking mechanism. It sounds simple to say that we're just looking at checksums for folders to see what data in what folders have changed, and we're just looking at checksums. But if you think about really, really large, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of objects in a file share, it's incredibly challenging to try to scan and touch every file and see, is it new from yesterday? Did somebody open that spreadsheet and add something and change it? Right? We can't look through that file. So we've got a really exceptional mechanism to understand whether these things have been changed. It's very important for pretty much to every business because we know that you've probably got an SMB or NFS share for your business. Right? So for Veeam, it's a massive improvement to be able to back up this piece of technology. And then finally, in terms of a snapshot-friendly capability, we have always been a hardware-agnostic organization, but we can leverage certain vendors' hardware to perform snapshots of file shares in order to back up from this particular snapshot. So there's a really exceptional capability here to back up files that would have been locked had we just looked at the original share. In terms of recovery capability, as we're backing up these massive shares, not only can we regurgitate the entire share, think of like old school NDMP style, but we can also go to a point in time and individual files. So this, for us, is a modern 2020 and beyond solution for Veeam. As a guy who works with service providers, this instant recovery capability for what we've done in version 10 is absolutely massive. So what we can do is, regardless of whether a backup was taken by from a vSphere platform, from a Hyper-V platform, from a Nutanix platform, from a Windows guest OS, a Linux guest OS, or something in the public cloud, all of those backups can be restored instantly to vSphere with version 10. So regardless of what you may be using on-prem, if you, for example, do business with virtual systems and you send your data over Cloud Connect, it doesn't matter what implementation you're using on-prem. Again, it could just be Windows agents. It could be Hyper-V. It could be Nutanix. All of those things can be instantly recovered to vSphere. This is truly, for us, especially for our service providers, a game-changing capability. We will perform essentially what is a P2V on the fly. We will install VMware tools. We will get the source IP back on the, not necessarily the original NIC by MAC address, but we will turn that system potentially from physical to virtual and keep all the capabilities there. And then finally, I want to talk about our object storage capability. Last January, with 9.5 Update 4 of backup and replication, we introduced what we called the capacity tier. It was our first crack at leveraging object storage. It wasn't meant to back up directly to object storage. We weren't sure about massive, massive customer implementations backing up directly to object storage. Could vendors provide us performance? Maybe. Lab tests show one thing, but what does it look like in production? So for Veeam, what we did was take a step forward by allowing us to leverage a initial, what we call a performance tier of block or file repository, and then move or tier data away to object storage. And this was a great capability for most customers of Veeam, because it allowed you to save space on-prem, but keep long-term stuff somewhere else, probably somewhere where it was cheaper. In version 10, what we've introduced is an ability to mirror local backups to object storage. So not tier. If I make the analogy that tiering is more like a cut and paste, right? Control X or Command X. If you're a Mac user, and then pasting, right? That's our tiering capability. We remove it from the first tier and place it in object storage. What we've introduced with version 10 is a capability of mirroring what you have in your local repository. So think of this as a copy and paste or a redundancy play. And combined with leveraging new object storage API capabilities, we can now make that data in object storage immutable. So from a ransomware perspective, this allows us to have, it allows you as a customer to have great confidence that even if an insider attack occurred, and you delete a ransomware attack occurs, data locally is deleted. Data in object storage is attempted to be deleted. Right? If you've leveraged our immutability capability, that's a mouthful, then effectively what happens is that data is actually not deleted. Veeam will throw a warning and say, it's kind of like the old Jurassic Park thing, you didn't say the magic word, right? The data cannot be deleted by Veeam if it's been marked as being immutable. So there's a really interesting use case here. Ransomware is a topic I probably speak to customers and partners about every day. It's a scary world out there. And so this is something we've done to help provide confidence. And then finally, just this little blurb here in case anyone's seen it. When I mentioned that we can mirror local repositories to object, if you're leveraging GFS now on your local storage to have your weekly, monthly, and yearly backups stored there, well, when you mirror that to object, you get a redundant copy of your long-term archives. So again, from a use case perspective and a data protection perspective, there's a really critical piece there to leverage GFS on-prem and then mirror that in the cloud. This exists whether you use object storage or leverage a Cloud Connect backup through a partner like Virtual Systems.
Hi, I'm Chelsea Rogers from Wasabi. I don't have a slide with pretty pictures, but a couple fun things about me is I'm from New Hampshire, born and raised. If you've never been to New Hampshire, I'm biased, but I think it's one of the most beautiful states. Highly recommend going hiking in the White Mountains. We have 48 4,000-foot mountains in New Hampshire, and it's quite beautiful. I'm also a part-time wedding officiant. So normally when I'm on the mic, I'm talking about love and marriage and dedication, but today I'm going to talk about object storage. So for those of you who are not familiar with Wasabi, we are a hot cloud storage vendor. If you're not familiar with the term hot cloud storage, the term hot data means that data is instantly accessible and readily available, and that's what our hot cloud storage offers for you as well. The ability to access your data quickly. If you're familiar with a company called Carbonite, they were one of the largest consumer backup companies in the world, and those are our founders. They left Carbonite in 2015 and started working on Wasabi's technology, along with the founding engineering team. We launched the company publicly in 2017, and we're very, very well funded, no VCs, and we have thousands of customers and partners. We're very comparable to Amazon S3, Azure Blob, and GCP. We're 100% BIT compatible with the S3 API. So any storage applications you're using now that use an S3, that talk S3, or you can just simply change the endpoint to Wasabi, which is really great, very easy to use. We chose that because we saw it as a de facto standard in the industry, and it's enabled us to connect with over 300 technology alliance partners, just like Veeam, that offer all kinds of great services and allow something kind of boring like cloud storage to be a little bit sexier. So Wasabi's value proposition is kind of our 3 Ps. Price, we're about 80% less expensive than Amazon S3, but more importantly, we don't charge for egress or API requests. That's something that's really important to us and is a mission at our company. We don't believe in holding your data hostage. Also, egress and API fees are very unpredictable, so it can really change your monthly bill and really disable you from planning ahead and really realizing what your monthly cost is. So we eliminated that and made a very simple per terabyte per month pricing model. And then performance. So we test faster than the competition. We have our own performance scripts online that we encourage you to test out all the performance yourself. One of my favorite questions when I talk to people is, well, how can you be so cheap and so fast and secure as all the other cloud storage vendors? And that's my favorite question to answer. When we started building our technology in 2015, we purpose-built our own operating system instead of running on a Windows or Linux platform. And it's the way that we write data to disk more efficiently that allows us to use less disks so we don't spend as much money, and actually allows us to read data faster so we can spit that data back out to you quickly. So we have 3 main use cases when we work with Veeam for backup. The first one we're really excited about, backup for Office 365. So one of the things that's a common misconception is that Microsoft is doing all the work for you and backing up all of your Office 365 data, and in fact, they're actually not. So choosing a service like Veeam with Wasabi is a really great option to ensure that you never lose that data. Some of that is so important to your business, and we offer something that's really inexpensive with several different kinds of retrieval options. And then for those of you that are still using Veeam 9.5.4, we offer a scale-out backup repository using the cloud tier model. So great option there again, we're low cost compared to using a vendor like Amazon. And essentially, you can push your old backup data over to us and keep what you need close by. And then third, for V10, we're just in our final weeks of getting the Veeam Ready certification for V10. So with that ability, you'll be able to do, like he's describing, like the mirror, or we call it copy mode. And again, because we're inexpensive, honoring that 3-2-1 rule of having at least one copy of your data off-site is both inexpensive, easy, and a great first step into moving into the cloud if you haven't quite gone that direction yet. And then just kind of an overview of why Veeam and Wasabi are better together. Our companies are very aligned on our mission within the technology space, and that's no extra cost. We don't like to hold your data hostage. We offer high performance and high availability, and so the combination is just something that's very powerful, and we highly encourage you to check us out working together.
Thank you. So I don't think I introduced myself the last time, so Dirk Ahrens. I'm the president at Virtual Systems. And really I just want to kind of bring it together for you. So we're the vehicle, Virtual Systems is the vehicle that brings a Veeam Wasabi solution to customers. So we're a cloud service provider. Let me get there. So we're a cloud service provider, which is one of those terms that I think when I tell people we're a cloud service provider, everybody nods their heads like they know what that means, but it's really hard to define that without using the term in the definition. We, provide cloud services, but what does that really mean? So we bring Veeam solutions and Wasabi solutions to our customers. One of the reasons one of the things Chelsea just touched on is Wasabi has got this flat rate fee thing going on. So before Wasabi, Virtual Systems archived into S3. And if you have firsthand experience with it, that's kind of a pain because of the unpredictable costing and that stuff. It wasn't easy for us. So we started digging into Wasabi, and it was just a terrific kind of integration of Veeam's capabilities, this object storage, as just cloud storage races to the bottom in price. So we love this flavor of cloud backup and DR solutions, and if you're interested in continuing this conversation, we'd love to kind of keep that up with you. So a little bit on Virtual Systems. I'll give you a high-level overview, then we'll kind of talk about what cloud is, like we'll define that term a little bit, and I don't think that will be as simple as you might imagine it to be right now. And then we'll get out and do some Fowling in a minute. So Virtual Systems began as an internet service provider in, 2013. So we started building out, actually, FreedomNet was our parent company, and FreedomNet started building out rural Michigan internet towers back when there was no internet in some of those spaces. Then we started providing business solutions, like actual IT solutions to customers. That went so well that we kind of rebranded it and came out as Virtual Systems, sold off the internet service provider, and now kind of here we are. So we've got a 3 data center footprint today in the Midwest. So we actually build those cloud solutions out in that data center footprint. But some of that is other public cloud, like Wasabi is other public cloud. So we're the largest Veeam Cloud partner in Michigan, and we're also a VMware Cloud Verified partner, and we're the only one in Michigan that's doing that. So you probably don't know what that means, but that is a very exclusive tier within VMware's partner network that basically just says we are excellent at VMware-based cloud solutions. So cloud is cool for 2 reasons, really. And I want to kind of define it with you in the coming slides. But think of cloud as being cool in 2 categories. It's cool to get your stuff off-prem. There's a lot of good reasons for that, right? Like security, less management, all of that stuff. Like, let's reduce our on-prem footprint. That's part of the reason cloud is trendy. But the other idea I want to submit to you is cloud is also really cool because it's an operation model. And a lot of times when we talk about cloud, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the operation model of just subscribing to IT. Like, I've heard some people call it utility IT before. Like, when my stuff expands, I want to pay more for it. When I contract a little bit, I want to pay less for it. That idea, and that's what Virtual Systems really tries to bring to our customers too, that idea behind, let's just subscribe to this, and as it needs to scale, it scales, and as it needs to contract, it contracts. So It's really helpful to kind of talk about cloud in three flavors. So there's infrastructure as a service, which is like just your nodes, right? Your compute, your storage, maybe your networking. If you're an IT person who wants to manage at the hypervisor layer, this is your flavor of cloud. You want to be in vCenter, vSphere. You want to, have the control from there on up, but you don't care about your hardware. You're sick of updating your Dell component storage. This is your flavor of cloud. This is traditionally what we think about in AWS, that kind of stuff. The next one is platform as a service. So platform is really like, give me the OS and everything else. Like if I never hear vCenter again, I'll be okay. Everything else I don't care about. Give me the OS so I can put my applications on it, and then I'll serve that up. And then the last one is really the most common one that I think everybody knows, like the one that Salesforce really popularized, and that's like everything. Soup to nuts, the application, the OS if there is one, the hardware, the networking, I just want to serve that up. So traditionally and really kind of historically, virtual systems works mostly at the infrastructure as a service, the platform as a service levels, and then we work with IT teams at the application and above, to kind of keep managing that for their employees. So what that looks like in terms of products. So this is kind of a trendy one right now, but cloud workspaces. So one of the things Virtual Systems does is this cloud workspace solution that's like, hey, I got employees that need to work from home, or I don't want to manage devices, but we just want to serve up the workspace itself. I don't want to worry about the hardware and stuff like that. That's what this is, VMware-based solution, but cloud workspaces that really kind of deliver, whether it's the OS or just the application, but that delivered to end users no matter where they are. And then the one that we're talking about today, which is backup and disaster recovery. So that can be anything for us from the beginning. That's always been a Veeam flavor. So we've always just done, we've looked at other things. We've explored Zerto. They do some good stuff, but we've really just loved the consistency of Veeam, the simplicity of Veeam, but also really the ability for it to do almost everything behind the scenes. So we can customize customers' backup and DR, whether that's managed by us or unmanaged by us and managed by the customer. We do both flavors, but that's always just been Veeam. So I think that's, this is on our website too. This is kind of a fun architectural diagram, kind of what cloud looks like for us. So, you got your premises here, and then really in the cloud, we're just building these storage nodes. Sometimes that's backing up to object storage if we're tiering off, or sometimes it's storage nodes and compute, so that we're lighting up disaster recovery resources too. So Veeam does that really nicely, where we can just talk about keeping our data a long time with cloud backup, or we can talk about replication and actual hot standby DR.